half pounds. Yes, I didn't say. What are you looking so sad about, Jeff?
I'm surprised at you. I mean, I'm really insulted. I mean, that's not right what you just said.
What do you mean? What I just said?
I mean, I'm getting drink of water. I'm late getting on, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talk about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, one time during my career, I bombed a bomber one tour.
I would have been a bum because compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cat Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. How's the family today? We got the Cam J Network in the building early today. Salute Cam J Network. Salute. Anybody was in the sound of my voice, replay, whatever, subscribe to the Cam J Network. We talk about consistency. Put consistency in the dictionary. Just put the words Cam J Network beside it. Salute Cam J. Yeah, today we're going to be talking about it's Trilogy Monday. So we're going to look at the James Lights Out Toney, Mike the Body Snatcher McCallum trilogy today. I didn't even know they had a trilogy before last week. I had remembered 2 fights, but yeah, they had a trilogy. And we're going to dig down deep into those 3 fights today. Yeah, and Woodley got it done. I had picked Parker for the decision. Pretty significant setback for Parker, too, because he was on I think he was on a 6-fight winning streak coming into that, cruising toward a title shot. So now, like I was telling T. Hill and Perro last week, anybody can win. Anybody's good at winning, but it's how you bounce back from those losses that shows the character So we're gonna see what Parker's made of now. Because like I said, anybody can win, but how do you come back after a loss? That's what shows what you're made out of. Mike Rim in the building. What's up, Mike? How are you today? Yeah, Wortley got it done. And we're going to get into our fight of the day in a minute. And for November, this is the first, right? Let's see what's happening this weekend real quick. I should have looked at that. But let's see. I'll take but a second. Fast as I can type in the boxing sketch. Yeah, we got some big cards. That big one and that big Riyadh season, Devin and Brian Norman. That's the talk of the town right there. I got Devin by decision, but we'll see. I was wrong this weekend. I had Parker, so the boxing is moving right along, man. Saturday is the first. We're gonna just take a quick look. Then we're gonna get started. There we go. We got something the 29th, which is Wednesday, from the Philippines. Wow. Too bad I can't pronounce that guy's name. But yeah, that card is from the Philippines. It don't have no network on there. A lot of foreign fighters. I haven't heard of too many of them. Okay. Then, wow, Thursday for Montreal. So Wednesday, Thursday. Women's fight, Murray Spencer. Michaela Mayer in action. Going up for Spencer's WBA junior welterweight title. Middleweight. I know Michaela Mayer used to be the welterweight champion. She's going for junior middleweight now. Thursday. And then Friday, we got a card from Mississippi. So we got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And Saturday, Joshua Buatsi and Zach Parker. That could be pretty good. So yeah, starting Wednesday, take us right on through to the weekend. And we got the one from Florida, Lanier Perro versus Jordan Thompson. That's 2 cards Saturday. So yeah, all right. And then from Japan, Masaya Tamayama. So we got cards on through the weekend starting Thursday, about 2 or 3 Saturday. But now, BBO Sports TV in the building from the Sports Talk Network. What's up, BBO? We're going to go ahead on and get into our fight of the day. We got all these big heavyweights in here early. We got BBO Sports TV, Mike Grimm, and the Cam J Network. BBO from the STN family, the Sports Talk Network. That's the founder of the Sports Talk Network, BBO Sports TV. Okay, let's get into our fight of the day today. So we can get to this legendary trilogy, Lights Out and the Body Snatching. Before last week, I just remember 2 fights between them two, but then I looked it up, yeah. They fought 3 times, wow. Lights Out took 2 out of 3. But yeah, let's get into our fight of the day now. Okay, the fight of the day today is Ray Boom Boom Mancini versus the schoolboy, Bobby Chacon. Just business, Bobby. That's what Ray told him after the fight. Bobby told Ray they was together they were good friends, so they was doing the post-fight press conference together. And Bobby said, Ray, I thought we was friends. Why you beat me up so bad? And Ray said, just business, Bobby. So that's the name of the fight of the day today. Just business, Bobby. And my hand hit it. I done lost it. Just business, Bobby. Mancini versus Chacon. Boom, boom. Versus the schoolboy. And y'all know Skywalker Boxio, right? That's Bobby Chacon is his uncle. That's his mother's brother. Mm-hmm. Well, was because he passed away around 2016, something like that. He had dementia pugilistica. He was a tough guy, though, man. Yeah. Just Donnie Williams in the building. Just do boxing. Salute. We're on to our fight of the day right now. Ray Boom Boom Mancini versus Bobby the Schoolboy Chacon, January 14th, 1984. Salute to Donnie and Just Do Boxing. Coming up at 4 p.m. with some more of that balanced, unbiased boxing talk, giving everybody their just due. Even clowns like Ryan Garcia and Teofimo, everybody get their just due and Just Do Boxing. Okay, fight of the day. Mancini versus Chacon, January 14th, 1984. Okay, so we dug into the archives about 30 years, 40, a little over 40 years, 41 years, right? 25, 84, 41 years. Okay, let's get into it. Now, boxing is not an old man's sport. And over the decades, there have been plenty of what we might call passing the torch fights, when age gives way to younger legs and faster fists. For example, Rocky Marciano knocking Joe Louis out of the ring and catapulting himself to heavyweight glory. Or Mike Tyson sending Larry Holmes to the canvas 3 times in a single round. How about Oscar De La Hoya battering Julio Cesar Chavez? And then a decade after that, Floyd Mayweather Jr. establishing his own dominance, but outpointing the Golden Boy. In each case, the loser soon retired, with grace, legendary status still intact, and the victor went on to cement his place in the pantheon of great fighters. Okay, there's a little poster of it too. Mancini Chacon. Okay. So, now that's what was supposed to happen when young superstar Ray Boom Boom Mancini faced former two-time world champion Bobby Schoolboy Chacon in 1984. Now Mancini was 22 years old, already a champion, and ready to rule the lightweight division for the rest of the decade. Now, Chacon was a decade older than Ray, and the veteran of clashes against fellow Hall of Famers, Ray Oliveras, Danny Little Red Lopez, and the explosive thin man, Alexis Arguello. And Chacon was moving up in weight after a series of brutal championship fights at 130 pounds. And he could do very little to tarnish his legacy at this point. Yeah, the Schoolboy's legacy was set. Okay. Thank you. Okay. It was a classic fight to cement Mancini as the new star and to allow Chacon to lead the ranks with dignity. But that is not what happened. Now, while the in-ring action of Mancini versus Chacon was about what people expected, it actually marked the last time either man did what the boxing script said they should do. Okay, there they are at the weigh-in. They were real good friends too, you know. Chacon was actually Boom Boom's idol coming into that. You know, when Boom Boom, Chacon was like 10 years older. Yeah, he was actually Boom Boom's idol at that time. Now on the night, Mancini was clearly the bigger man. Now while Chacon looked narrow and had little tone in his upper body, Boom Boom looked like he'd been carved from marble by a Renaissance sculptor. In fairness, Chacon had appeared the smaller man in many of his fights before going on to win them. But that's one thing when a boxer is in his ascendancy, and totally another thing when he's on the way down. Okay, it's one thing when you're on the way up that ladder, but it's another thing when you're going back down it. Okay. Now, despite his granite chin, everyone knew Bobby Chacon would have to stay off the ropes to have any chance against the powerful Mancini. And for much of the opening round, that's exactly what he did. But toward the end, Mancini shoved Chacon out of a clinch and onto the ropes. And he then kept the challenger on the back foot for the rest of the round. And then within a minute of round two, Chacon was cornered again and taking a beating from Mancini, ducking and slipping the best he could, but the blows were connecting. And even the Chacon fans in the stands could see their man was outgunned and overmatched. He was outgunned and overmatched by Boom Boom. Okay? Yeah, everybody could see that. Even the most staunchest Chacon fans could see he was outgunned and overmatched by Boom Boom in this fight. So, the third round was more the same, and that just over a minute into it, referee Richard Steele stopped the fight. Now, it was an odd stoppage, as Steele first stepped in to stop the fight, but then he saw Chacon throw another punch, and he let it go on for another moment before finally bringing the one-sided ordeal to a halt. And nonetheless, no one watching could have doubted a Mancini victory would be the eventual outcome of the fight, and Steele undoubtedly acted in the best interest of the bleeding Chacon. And as Steele wrapped his arms around Chacon, Bobby actually said, "Thank you." Actually thanked Richard Steele for stopping it. So the fight went according to plan, as did the post-fight quotes, where Mancini called Chacon his hero. And Chacon said with his characteristic grin, "Ray, we were supposed to be friends. How come you beat me up so bad?" Mancini smiled and replied, "Just business, Bobby, just business." And it seemed as though, in the lightweight division, the torch had been passed. Yup, seems like the torch had been passed from Chacon to Boom Boom Mancini. Yeah, there's Boom Boom, some of the action. Well, it's the same picture I just showed, isn't it? There he is, yeah. Still getting the best of Bobby. Okay, so then, boxing, though, is a strange trade. Now, Chacon was supposed to be on the way out the door after that fight, right? Chacon would actually fight on for another 4 years. And unlike most fighters who go on past their prime, Chacon won every fight, right? Now, he never fought top contenders again, but he beat Freddie Roach and former champion Arturo Frias. But in a way, Chacon became the typical fighter who stayed on too long, unable to recover squandered winnings, or quit the only life he had ever known. Except that somehow he avoided the momentous losses so many former champions suffer when they go on too long. Now, the only thing that happened to him, which one might expect, was the onset of pugilistic dementia, which severely affected him until his death in 2016. Just some more of the action right there. Yeah, he suffered from pugilistic dementia too. But the pugilistic dementia. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Severely too, yeah, because he was in a lot of wars. Chacon was, yeah. Now, but Mancini took an even stranger path. Now, after the Chacon fight, Mancini appeared ready to begin a legendary career, right? But after the Chacon fight, Boom Boom actually never won another fight. Never won another fight. In his very first title defense, he lost to Livingstone Bramble. Then he lost the rematch to Bramble, right? And then he retired for 4 years. Now, the reason was obviously that Mancini had never really gotten over his infamous fight with Dooku Kim in 1982. In that unforgettable clash, Mancini prevailed in a grueling slugfest, knocking his brave challenger out in round 14 when Kim collapsed in the ring and never regained consciousness, and a few days later died in the hospital, right? That's the fight that was caused them to go from 15 to 12 rounds. It took a few years for them to do it. By the end of the 80s, they were at 12 rounds. That was the fight, the catalyst for it right there. Boom Boom Mancini and Dooku Kim. Yep. Now, the tragic fight and its aftermath have since been documented in the excellent book, The Good Son, yeah, great book, and the subsequent documentary film of the same name. Yeah, good boxing book there, The Good Son, about Boom Boom and his father. Because his father was a boxer too. And his father said was actually better than Boom Boom. His father boxed in the late 30s, early 40s, but then he got drafted into World War II. And he got injured in the war and his father was not able to continue his boxing career after the war. So Boom Boom went into boxing when he grew up, and he promised his father he would win that title that his father was never able to fight for. And he did become champion. Boom Boom did become champion. So yeah. Yeah. He fulfilled his promise to his father. And there's his father used to be at all the fights back in the 80s and stuff. Mm-hmm. Good story, but that's a real good book. Anybody that like boxing books, The Good Son. It's about Boom Boom. That's right before the end there when Boom Boom got him on the ropes there. And you can tell Bobby is done. Now, any boxing, that Dooku Kim death bothered Boom Boom for decades, right? But any boxing fan understood that Kim's death was not Mancini's fault. That all boxers know and accept the risk they're taking when they step into that squared circle. There was no foul play in the fight. And while it was Boom Boom's punches that caused Kim's mortal wounds, the damage on him, none of his punches was thrown out of malice, right? Just like he told Bobby Chacon, that fight too was just business, right? That's boxing. And like I said, all fighters know the risk when you step into that squared circle. Just like we was talking about last week when Sugar Ray, the guy died from remember Sugar Ray dreamt he was going to kill the guy in the ring and the guy died. And then they actually tried to indict him for murder, right? And when the investigators going to sit there and ask Sugar Ray, did you notice the guy was in any kind of danger? Sugar Ray looked at him crazy like, I'm trying to put him in danger. I'm trying to hurt him. It's boxing, man. But you know, they dropped it after the uproar from the fan. Even the guy's family that died, his family said, no, y'all ridiculous to try to charge this man with murder. The man, our family member knew what he was getting into. So it was a big uproar from the public, so they dropped the charges. But that's crazy. How you going to prove intent? It's a boxing match. There's somebody in there trying to kill somebody. Yeah. It's a couple times that happened to Max Bayer too when a couple guys died at the fights with him and they tried to charge him in California. He actually got suspended. Mm-hmm. But anyway, nonetheless, Mancini couldn't shake his depression despite his successful return to the sport after that fight. Bobby Chacon was his fourth opponent after the Dooku Kim fight, but he couldn't shake it despite his successful return and jocular exchanges with Chacon after their fight. Underneath the darkness of what he'd done a few years before it lay undiminished. Yeah, the darkness in that fight lay undiminished inside Boom Boom. It took him decades and eventually a meeting with Dooku Kim's son to be at peace again. Yeah, he actually had a meeting with his son, just like the fighter in the 60s, the welterweight. He killed the Cuban guy, Benny Parrott. Emmett, I can't think of his name, but he met Benny Parrott's son after he grew up, and they talked about it, right? And that put him at peace. Yeah. Yeah, but it took Boom Boom decades to get over that, you know. And despite both Chacon and Mancini being elected to the International Boxing Hall of Fame, Ray's dark journey still sparks people's imaginations even today. While outside of boxing circles, Bobby Chacon was largely forgotten until his death. That's a tragic story in its own right there. Yeah. And there they are after the fight at the post-fight press conference. Let's finish this off so we can get into this trilogy. It is Bobby Chacon and Boom Boom at the post-fight press conference. Bruce Gass, salute Bruce Gass. How are you? Fight of the day is Bobby Chacon and Ray Boom Boom Mancini. Back in the 80s. In 1987, Warren Zevon wrote a song called Boom Boom Mancini about Boom Boom and his life. His wars with Alexis Arguello and Dooku Kim. And the Chacon fight anchors the chorus. It says, "Hurry home early, hurry on home. Boom Boom Mancini's fighting Bobby Chacon." And that sums up the odd narrative that followed Mancini versus Chacon. With everything these two fighters endured in the years after, it was Mancini who remained on people's minds. No doubt, that had much to do with the story of his life, the storybook quest to fulfill his father's ambitions to be a world champion, along with the exciting battles against Alexis Arguello and Arturo Frias. But it no doubt also had something to do with that savage fight with Dooku Kim and the death in the ring. Now, Boom Boom would rather have it have been different, but nonetheless, he got the song, and Bobby Chacon only got the one line in it. There you have it, the fight of the day. Bobby Chacon, Boom Boom Mancini. Okay, so now let's take a look at James Lights Out Toney versus the Body Snatcher, Mike McCallum. All three fights. Okay, give me for one moment, please. All right. Right back. Okay. Where's the light at? Let's do this. Oh well. Okay, let's go. I was gonna put some more light, but the lamp over there is gone. All right. The Toney-Mccallum trilogy today. There they are. Lights out. Oh, no, that's not them. There they are. Lights out on the left, the Body Snatcher on the right. A young Lights Out. Young, slender Lights Out. Wow, look at that. Wow. Okay, let's get into it. Anybody come in before we get started? No. All right. The Toney-Mccallum trilogy today. James Toney and Mike McCallum fought 3 times between 1991 and 1997, with Toney winning the final 2 fights by decision after the initial fight resulted in a split decision draw. Here we go. Now here are the results of the James Toney Mike McCallum trilogy. Real quick before we dig deep into them, let's go over them real fast. Fight number 1, December 13th, 1991. The initial meeting was hailed as the fight of the year by many critics. It was an extremely close technical duel between the two masters. Toney was the IBF middleweight champion coming into this fight, and they fought to a split decision draw. And McCallum was the former WBA champion. He had got stripped. We're going to cover that when we start digging into him, okay? The Baldfather had tried to make a unification fight between them, but McCallum got stripped. So Toney it was for the IBF. Keon Carr, what's happening? I hope I'm saying your name right. How are you today? Keon Carr. From Great Britain, all the way from Great Britain. Big time boxing fan. Okay. So fight number 2. First fight was a split draw. Fight number 2 was August 29th, 1992. Okay. Now, in the highly anticipated rematch, Toney defeated McCallum by majority decision. Though two of the scorecards, 117-110, 117-110, were considered wide by many observers. Now, McCallum outlanded Toney in total punches, but Toney landed the harder blows and benefited from a point deduction against McCallum in the second fight. Okay? And then fight number 3 was February 22nd, 1997, 5 years after fight number 2. Their final meeting came several years after the second meeting at a higher weight class for a lesser regarded title. By this point, McCallum was nearly 40 years old. And this time, Toney won a more decisive, unanimous decision in fight number 3. Okay, so Toney won the series 2-1. Okay, so before we get started, like we always do, let's look at the two boxing styles real quick. Starting with lights out. Yeah, I believe he did, Keon Carr. That was in I know the first one was at Convention Hall in Atlantic City. I know he promoted the first one. Yeah, that was in Atlantic City Convention Hall. I believe he owned that, didn't he? Donald Trump. I think. Don't quote me, I think he did. Yeah, that was like 80, no, that was in the 90s, 91. Okay, but let's take a quick look at James Toney, like boxing star. I ain't even gonna take like 30 seconds. Now, James Toney's boxing style was characterized by old school craftsmanship, combining a slick, shoulder-rolling defense with sharp counterpunching and inside fighting. He used the Philly shell stance to block punches with his shoulder, and he would immediately counter after blocking or parrying shots with his hands. Now, Toney was a difficult fighter to hit cleanly and had quick hands and power. He was also noted for his toughness, having never been stopped in 92 professional fights. Lights out. Okay, Mike McCallum, real quick boxing, look at his boxing style for the body snatcher. Mike McCallum was a master technician with a versatile style, but he was most famous for being a devastating body puncher, earning his nickname, the body snatcher. You got to be a good body puncher. That's your nickname, the body snatcher. That's why they gave it to him, because of his devastating body punching attack. Now, his style combined a patient, strategic approach with the ability to land powerful, precise shots, particularly to the midsection, which he used to wear opponents down over the course of a fight. Now, while he could fight comfortably at any range, the body snatcher was particularly effective at setting up his body punches from a mid-range distance. Okay? So let's go on into the first fight. Might as well start with the first one, right? That's a good starting point. The first one. Okay, there's a little poster of it. Toney-Mccallum won. Toney-Mccallum won. Now, significant subplot that can provide additional intrigue to a fight is when a young lion battles an established, highly accomplished veteran. This was the case when James Lights Out Toney and Mike the Body Snatcher McCallum faced each other on December 13th, 1991 at Convention Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Yeah, Convention Hall. Now, Toney came in 28 wins, no losses, 1 draw, 20 knockouts, right? He came into this fight as the reigning IBF middleweight champion, the pride of Ann Arbor, Michigan. He won the belt with a shocking 11th round upset of the previous long-reigning IBF champion, Michael Nunn, in May 1991. Yeah, he just about needed that knockout, and he got it, okay? His trainer was in the corner telling him all these instructions and everything, and Toney just told him, be patient. He's not going the distance, right? He told his trainer, just be patient. He's not going the distance, and he didn't. Michael Nunn. Now, outside the ring, Toney was fiery and combative. But once the bell rang, the then 23-year-old was composed and had a style that reminded observers of a foregone era. But punters still question just how good of a fighter Toney really was. Now, he faced Mike McCallum. McCallum was 42 wins, 1 loss, 34 knockouts coming into this fight. And Toney was in search of a high-profile showcase fight. Now, McCallum was the pride of Jamaica, and he came into prominence in the mid-1980s in the era of what was known as the Four Kings. You know, Marvin Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, and Roberto the Red. Now, McCallum craved fights with all those 4 men. But McCallum was burdened with the label that no boxer wants to have. And that label was a fighter who is high risk, low reward. And as a result, the Four Kings all conveniently stared wide around McCallum, okay? He didn't get any of them in there. And he was right around where they fought at. Junior middleweight. But yeah, they all made a wide berth around the body snatcher. Okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, of course. Mike McCallum fought by guy Michael Watson and finished him. Watson said he broke his nose in sparring prior to that. Okay. And Chris Eubank and Nigel Benn wanted no part of James Toney either. Nope, they didn't. You're right. They didn't. Neither of them. Yeah, but McCallum couldn't get any of the Four Kings in the ring. But despite that disappointment, McCallum went on to win world titles at 154 and 160. And pundits at the time viewed the 34-year-old as one of the better fighters of the entire decade of the 80s, okay? And when McCallum was presented with the opportunity to fight Toney, he jumped at it without hesitation. He was like, yeah, give me lights out. Now, as an aside, this fight was to be a middleweight unification contest. Now, McCallum was a WBA middleweight champion, but days before the fight, the WBA stripped McCallum of the title when he refused to pay additional sanctioning fees. Now, this is exactly what happened, how he got stripped. Okay, there's the Bob father. He's going to figure into this story here. This is how McCallum got stripped. Days before the Toney fight, it was going to be a unification. Promoter, Bob the Bob father era, looked to begin the process of unifying the 3 major world titles in order to crown an undisputed middleweight champion. because the WBO was around, but it wasn't considered one of the big ones. It's the WBA, WBC, and the IBF, right? Were the big three at that time. So the Barfather organized a unification fight between reigning IBF middleweight champion James Toney and reigning WBA middleweight champion Mike McCallum. But these plans were derailed when the WBA stepped in and refused to sanction the Toney-Mccallum fight and ordered McCallum instead to defend his title against mandatory challenger Steve Collins. Okay? Who McCallum had soundly beaten the previous year. So McCallum asked the WBA for an exception to face Toney instead. But the WBA requested, in order to get the exception, they requested McCallum pay them $30,000 from his purse, pay an additional $35,000 for the exception, and finally, $50,000 step aside to Collins. So it's like $115,000, right? So McCallum said no. This is what he would have had to do in order to fight Toney. So McCallum declined the WBA's terms and instead opted to continue on with the Toney fight, right? And that led to the WBA stripping up McCallum's title, okay? Then the vacant WBA middleweight title was decided the following April, with the number one ranked contender Collins facing number two contender Reggie Johnson. And Johnson won that fight by majority decision, okay? So McCallum, he got stripped. He went on with the Toney fight. Toney was more money and, bigger. He had already just beat Collins soundly the year before, right? So, no. Now, what made this fight special was the quality of the action from beginning to end. Now, McCallum was excellent at establishing the jab, landing with right hands up top and making Toney miss in the first couple of rounds. Now, starting in the third round, Toney started to find his range. Cool as a cucumber, the IBF champion tagged the body snatcher with counter right hands and left hooks. Now, the middle round saw McCallum gain some momentum. His experience came into play as he used more side-to-side movement, boxed, and did some countering of his own. Now, Toney landed his pound of flesh, especially the right hand. Entering the championship rounds, the fight was clearly still up for grabs. Going into the championship round, it was still up for grabs. This is the first fight. It was at this moment that Toney poured it on. He appeared to be the fresher man, and he picked up the pace in the final two rounds. Toney threw with more force, landing the clearer and harder punches. And midway through the final round, a Toney left hook wobbled McCallum. He almost got him out of there. Now, sensing a warrior that was wounded, Lights Out went for the finish. But McCallum's toughness and experience helped him make it to the final bell. In the end, the fight was scored a split draw. One judge scored the fight 116-112 in Toney's favor. Another scored the fight 115-113 for McCallum. And the final judge had it, 114-114. And the fighters were almost even in punches landed. McCallum had 343 of 890 for 38%, and Toney landed 340 of 823 for 41%. Okay, McCallum landed three more punches. McCallum landed three more punches than Toney, but he drew like 67 more. Toney had the higher percentage, 41% to 38%. Okay, so they called it a draw. The first fight. So at the post-fight press conference, an altercation erupted between Toney and Milt Shawsky, one of McCallum's lawyers. After the Bob father suggested Toney had been robbed by the judges, Shawsky took exception, telling Bob Arum, "I'm not going to let you disrespect my fighter like that." So Toney took exception to Shawsky's remark, right? And Toney and Shawsky exchanged words. And Toney had to be restrained by security to prevent him from physically assaulting Shawsky. They said Toney was fiery outside the ring. So the Bob father said he thought his fighter Toney was robbed, and then McCallum Shawsky told the Bob father, "I ain't gonna let you disrespect my fighter." I guess the way he said it, Toney took exception, and him and Shawsky exchanged words. He, like so, had to be held back by security, right, from going at Shawsky. But they got everything settled down. So Toney and McCallum fought each other 2 more times in 1992 and 1997. But their first fight was the best of the 3 by far, right? And this fight was the fight of the year for 1991. Ring Magazine's fight of the year. So that was definitely the best of the 3, okay? And due to Toney's performance against McCallum, his stoppage of Michael Nunn earlier that year, plus his 4 other wins in 1991, he went 6-0 in 1991. Pundits named Toney Fighter of the Year. So he was the Fighter of the Year and in the Fighter of the Year for 1991. Lights out. Okay. So fight number 2. There's the rematch. Fight number 2 between James Toney and the Body Snatcher. Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, T Hill? James Lights Out Toney versus Mike the Body Snatcher McCallum. Trilogy Monday today. Okay, let's go to fight number 2. There's a little poster of it right there. The rematch. It was dubbed "One Is Not Enough." Okay, I forgot what the first fight was called. This one was called "One Is Not Enough." I can't read that with my bad eyes. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, "One Is Not Enough." That's the rematch. Let's go with the rematch now. Now, James Toney versus Mike McCallum 2, billed as "One Is Not Enough," was contested on August 29th, 1992. And it was for the IBF middleweight title, which was still held by James Toney, okay? This one took place at the Reno Sparks Convention Center in Reno, Nevada. So this one is in Vegas. First one was in AC, Atlantic City, remember? Like Keon Carr said, I believe it was promoted by Donald Trump himself, okay? I believe he owned that convention hall where they fought at. Crush the Legend in the building. What's up, Crush? The Legend. Monday through Friday. Early show. Straight up. Great boxing talk. Plus, was talking about something about ladies' night with Crush the Legend coming up too. So that should be very interesting. Look at that, with the late Jab Queen, 2 Cents, Shawa, Ashley, some of the ladies in these YouTube streets. Ladies' night with Crush the Legend. That should be good. Salute, Crush. How are you today? We're talking about James Lights Out Toney versus Mike McCallum. Okay? We just started with fight number 2. Of course, the first one was a draw. It won Fight of the Year, and Toney won Fighter of the Year. He was 6-0 that year. He won his title over Michael Nunn. Had that great fight with McCallum. And everybody say that first one, that draw, was the best of all of them. So, now some would argue that James Toney's first win over Mike McCallum, which also happened to be his final defense of his middleweight title, is, all things considered, his greatest performance in his career. And whether you agree or not, you likely have to rank it top 5, right up there with his dazzling wins over Michael Nunn, Iran Barkley, Vasily Gerald, and Evander Holyfield. Yeah, definitely one of Tony's top 5 wins. Talking about fight 2, his first win over McCallum. Okay. Yeah, Lights Out was a beast, Crush. Yes, he was. So, when Toney and McCallum clashed the previous December, it matched the headstrong but gifted champion, Toney, then just 23 years old, against the masterful boxer puncher, McCallum, a veteran of 43 fights and a dozen years Toney's senior. And Toney was like 22. McCallum was like 34, that first fight. Now, between them, coming into this fight, they had a record of 70 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw, with McCallum having dropped a close decision to Sambu Kalambe 3 years prior. And Toney had a draw with Sanderline Williams in 1990. That was going into the first fight. Yeah. Toney had a draw with Sanderline Williams in 1990. McCallum had the loss, Toney had the draw. But 70 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw between them. Now that first encounter had been the time-honored battle. The feared young puncher, recently crowned, versus the long-toothed bullfighter, who some believe knew more about the sweet science than Toney would ever learn. One thing was certain: Bob the Bobfather Arab had a great deal of confidence in his young fighter to have matched him versus McCallum, a supreme boxer that many marquee names had swerved around, including the 4 kings of the 80s, okay? Including the 4 kings of the 80s. Many marquee fighters had made a wide turnaround to body snatcher, okay? And the Jamaican had also been on a hot streak heading into that first encounter. He'd outpointed Harold Graham and Steve Collins, sensationally sparked out Michael Watson, that's Keon Cole was talking about, and McCallum had recently gained sweet revenge over Kalambe, right? He beat him in the rematch. But Toney had oozed confidence of his own coming into that first fight, having dethroned Nunn the previous May, turned back the challenge of Reggie Johnson in June, and blasted, outgunned Italian Francesco Dell'Aquila in October. Toney was on a nice run too. What the hell is going on, man? Okay, excuse me. That first encounter had produced memorable fireworks, as the cerebral McCallum had boxed the orders early and contained Toney, only for the Ann Arbor man to roar back and nearly stop the body snatcher late. Now, the judges had called it a draw. Whoever you favored, there was no dispute. It had been a fine exhibition of boxing. Intense, highly technical, and it had late drama. Yet Toney had almost stopped the body snatcher late in that fight. So therefore, that brings us to 9 months later and the rematch. So in the period between the first and second fights, McCallum had fought just once, claiming a decision over journeyman Furman Chirino at super middleweight. But Toney had been in action 3 times between the two matchups, first and second fight. The first of those fights resulted in a famously disputed split decision win over Dave Tiberi. Yeah, that was the one where they had the congressional investigation and all that stuff. During which the sluggish Toney looked quite unlike the laser-focused champion who confronted McCallum just months earlier. Thus, for Toney versus McCallum 2, both had to prove not only that they were the other's superior, but they remained legit attractions. But Lights Out betrayed no signs of nerves pre-fight, telling the press he would give his rival no respect. He'd get so tired of getting his butt whipped, he'll quit. Okay? Lights Out said McCallum going to get so tired of getting his butt whipped, he's going to quit. McCallum, meanwhile, epitomized the quiet but unshakable confidence of a fighter who he felt deserved to win in the first fight, right? Still, at age 35, he had to know this could be his last roll of the dice. Yeah. McCallum was 35, and this could be it for him if he didn't get it done this time. His last roll of the dice. So the pair traded jabs early in the opening round, with Toney clad in gold, looking sharp and aggressive. The champion also unloaded a handful of snappy combinations, targeted at the midsection, though McCallum landed piston-like jabs and double left hooks with a minute remaining in the first round. So the second round followed a familiar pattern to the first round, the younger man exhibiting quicker hands and more dynamism, with McCallum preferring to busily poke away with his jab. The body snatcher also detonated a few eye-catching body shots under Toney's elbows. There's a battle. The rematch caught fire in the third round. Toney unleashed a looping overhand right, planting his feet and going for the knockout. Now, McCallum didn't ignore the gauntlet and discharged a few hard hooks in response. So he soon returned to operating behind his trusty jab after that. Now, Toney seemed more switched on than in their first meeting, slipping, rolling, and catching ammo on gloves. But McCallum still landed enough solid jabs to make an impression and keep Toney honest, okay? And McCallum was landing the jab, keeping Toney honest. That's McCallum and when he fought Donald Curry right there. Okay, we'll wait for one moment. And that's okay. Yeah, there we go, right there. Okay. Now, fierce competitive exchanges characterized the fight's middle rounds. And every time it seemed like Lights Out had landed a game-changing shot, the body snatcher responded with his own two-fisted salvo. A combination of the champ's famously lazy style, exploding with heavy counters and clusters, then sleepwalking for 30 or 40 seconds, doing little while blocking, calculating, and admiring his work, made for close rounds, particularly given McCallum's age-defying activity level, consistency, and eye-catching body shots. Still, it had been a fast-paced fight, and that surely favored the 24-year-old Toney as they came down the stretch. Something else favoring Toney was Joe Cortez's wholly indefensible decision to dock a point from McCallum in the 8th round for hitting and holding. The injustice forced the Jamaican to work tirelessly to overturn the deficit, and his work rate paid dividends as he drove Toney onto the back foot for the first time in the fight. The 9th round saw Toney execute a powerful lead left hook, followed quickly by another cleaner shot as McCallum backed into the ropes. Commentating for HBO, George Foreman called it the best punch of the fight. But whether true or not, the unjoyed body snatcher was going nowhere. Okay? Body snatcher wasn't going nowhere. A moment later, he pummeled Toney's ribs with a 4-punch flurry. It was like many of the rounds that had passed by. The fight could have swung either way. A lot of close swing rounds in this one. Could go either way. So the championship rounds typically illuminate a fighter's greatness. So here we had not one, but two masterful operators. The older man coming to the end of his best days. The other, though we didn't yet know it, hovering close to his natural peak. Now, Toney started the 10th round on his toes, fitfully pumping the jab and loading up his right hand. McCallum, dog-tired, mostly skirted the fringes of the ring, flicking out his own jab, though with less authority now. Still, as the round continued, the wily old fox took advantage of Toney's resting phases to win some close quarters exchanges. McCallum's 80-year-old trainer, Eddie Futch, knew it was tight, telling his charge after round 10, "It's very close, Mike. You've got to get the next round. You got to have this one and the next one." But Eddie Futch, Mike McCallum's trainer, was telling him, "It's close." The penultimate round, though hardly clear-cut, arguably belonged to Toney, the champion, landing a booming right hand midway through. A left hook right uppercut combination with a minute left, and stalking the weary but defiant challenger throughout. In the final round, both left it all in the ring, throwing combinations, loading up, pressing hard. Neither, it seemed, could dismantle the other. And for the second time in a year, it would be left to the judges to separate two gallant warriors. Left to the judges again. Second time in a year. They left it up to the judges. Let's see what happened. So, surprisingly, somewhat ridiculous, two of the judges scored it widely in Toney's favor, posting tallies 117, 110 twice. Two of the judges, right? With the third judge scoring it a much more sensible 114, 114 tally. Now, scoring for HBO, Harold Letterman seemed to be more accurate than all three judges, official judges. Harold Letterman had a 115, 112 for Toney. That seemed more like what it was, right? And just like that, Toney's middleweight days were over. After he won this fight, he vacated. He went up to super after that. So Toney won this one. Majority decision, right? One judge had it a draw. The other two had it 117, 110. It wasn't that wide. Harold Letterman for HBO had it 115, 112. That was what it was more like. It was a very close fight. I just watched it Saturday. Yeah, it wasn't no 117, 110, that's for sure. So anyway, though, now Tony was full of praise for McCallum in the years afterwards. Tony said, Mike McCallum is the best guy I've ever fought. He told Donald McCray in an interview for McCray's book. Tony said, McCallum was trickier than Roy Jones, and he also hit harder than Jones. And Lights Out reiterated the sentiment when speaking to the Ring magazine in 2009. Again, he said, McCallum was a master boxer who wasn't afraid to stand his ground. Tony said, before him, I was just running in on everyone, but he made me slow down and think for the first time in my career. Yeah, like Sauce, he was running in on everybody until he got to the body snatcher. He said the body snatcher made him slow down and think before running up in there. The body snatcher was going to that body. Like Sauce said, hold up, I can't just run up in here any kind of way. But he did win 2 of the 3. Okay. Now, Tony also credited McCallum as having the best defense, best jab, and best boxing brain of all the fighters he ever fought in his career. Yeah. He gave that to the body snatcher. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So, despite the salty taste left by the decisions in both fights, McCallum returned the compliment when interviewed by the Ring magazine himself, naming Tony as the best overall fighter he had ever faced in his career. The body snatcher said, Tony was someone who could do it all, fight inside or outside, work offense and defense at the same time, just like me when I was younger. So Tony and McCallum met again 5 years later and some 20 pounds heavier. And like The Godfather 3, the third installment didn't quite live up to his predecessors. As a postscript, McCallum was inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame in 2003. The same year, Tony won Fighter of the Year, his second such honor. Okay, because remember, he won it in 91 too. This time for his heroics against Vasily Jirov and Evander Holyfield. Almost 20 years later, in 2022, Lights Out entered Canastota's corridors of immortals alongside another old rival, Roy Jones Jr. Mm-hmm. Him and Roy Jones winning. Okay, so the final fight, number 3, between these two, Lights Out and and the Body Snatchers. Lights Out and the Body Snatcher. Okay, fight number 3. We're winding down. Okay, good time. Good time. We're gonna look at that one. They had one common opponent. Y'all probably know who that was. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that after this. This is short. The third fight. Okay. It wasn't nothing. I watched all of them this weekend. The third fight was the worst of 3. All of them. The first one was the best one. The draw. Yeah. So I didn't have much on this one. Anyway, James Toney versus Mike McCallum 3 was the third and final fight of their trilogy. And this fight took place on February 22nd, 1997. And it was at the Mohegan Sun Casino in Uncasville, Connecticut, settling the rivalry between the two legendary fighters. And the judges' scorecards for this one were, for this 12-round cruiser, they were cruiserweight this time too, right? Okay. One judge had 117, 111, and 2 had 115, 113, all in favor of Lights Out, James Toney. Lights Out, James Toney. Okay. This is the third and final matchup. Now, the third fight between Toney and McCallum was arranged to settle their long-standing and tactical rivalry, which had ended inconclusively in their first two meetings in the early 1990s. By 1997, both fighters had continued their careers in different weight classes, but the close nature of their previous fights created persistent demand for a rubber match. Yeah, it was one nut and Tony with one draw. So yeah, that's not conclusive there. So it was a demand for a rubber match between them, even though it was like way up at cruiserweight this time. The other two had been at 160, remember? Now, the initial fight in 1991 for the IBF middleweight title held by Tony ended in a split decision draw. In the 1992 rematch for the same title, Tony still had it. Lights out on a close and debated majority decision. So that's why it was inconclusive, because when Lights Out won the second fight, it was real close and it was debated. Those two judges, 170, 110, I don't know what they was looking at. Eugenia Williams must have been judging that. No, she wasn't. I just saw it the other day. She wasn't. But that sounded like something she would do. But the inclusive results of their first two fights left unfinished business for both fighters and their fans. Many observers believe McCallum deserved a nod in their second meeting, fueling the desire for a third and final fight. Following their first two contests, both fighters moved up in weight. By 1997, Tony was competing in the cruiserweight division, and McCallum had moved up to light heavyweight and lost to Roy Jones Jr. So they'll tell y'all right there who their common opponent was, right? Roy Jones Jr., because you know McCallum lost to him at light heavyweight. You know Tony had fought him, right? So we're still going to talk about it in a minute. In the years between the second and third fights, Tony continues his rise, winning a super middleweight title, though he had also experienced some setbacks. Now, McCallum won the WBC light heavyweight title in 1994. This is in between the fights now, solidifying his status as a three-division champion. So with their first two meetings having become classics of tactical boxing, and with both men having achieved further successes in higher weight classes, the 1997 fight presented an opportunity to close the book on their fierce rivalry once and for all, right? It was a fitting finale for McCallum, who retired after the fight, and he fought Roy Jones in his next two last fight, and he fought Tony in his last fight. Yeah, Body Snatcher retired right after this fight here, the third one. Okay, yes he did. Arnie Boxing, Ant McQueen, what's up, Ant? And Arnie Boxing in the building. You're just gonna look at the third fight real quick. Yeah, I think it was the worst of the three. Again, the first one was the best. What's up, Arnie Boxing? Approaching his 30th episode of his new podcast. Arnie, 9ish, coming on 9ish, 10ish, something like that. Okay, so now Tony was much more active, especially in the later rounds in the third fight, and landed more punches. He was able to use his speed and power to dictate the pace of the fight. And McCallum, he was less active and slowed down as the fight progressed. He was also penalized a point in round 8 for a low blow, which contributed to the judge's decision. So McCallum lost points in the second and third fight. Wow. Man. And the third fight was less competitive than the first two, as Tony was able to outbox and outfight McCallum throughout the fight. Yeah, the third fight it wasn't all that at all. Now it was a good fight though, but it was looking at the other two, comparing it to the other two. Now Tony's dominance led to him winning the fight and the title. 117, 111, 115, 113, 115, 113, all for Tony. Okay? Yeah. All for Lights Out over the Body Snatcher in number 3. Yup. Okay, so that's it. So now that's not it. Oh man, yeah, I want to go here. Bear with me for a minute. I don't know where I'm at. It's right there. There we go. That's good enough. Yeah, we're right at the end of it. So the trilogy as a whole is remembered as a masterclass of boxing skill and ring intelligence. Highly respected by purists or hardcore fans, even if it's often underrated by casual fans. Now, they had one common opponent between them, right? The only common opponent Toney-Mccallum had was Roy Jones Jr., who both lost 12-round unanimous decisions to. Toney in 1994 and McCallum lost to Roy in 1996, which was the body snatcher's next to last fight. You know, his last fight was lights out in 1997, and the body snatcher fought Roy Jones in the fight right before that one. Yep, next to last fight. So, now what, a big win for Toney was Vasily Giro. That's when he won the IBF title. In 91, something, I can't remember when it was now, but Vasily Giro, let's talk about that. We got a little time. Yeah. There's him and Giro right there. Yeah, when he fought Vasily Giro. Excuse me for 1 second, please. 1 second. And we're going to talk about a big fight for McCallum, too. Oh, God damn it. Man. Okay. Ran into the chair. I got to get those steel-toed bedroom flippers, man. Okay, it's going to be an invention I'm working on. Some steel-toed bedroom slippers. Y'all know y'all have bumped y'all toe under the bed railing or something before. Steel-toed bedroom slippers would prevent that. Right? Okay, yeah, we're going to talk about James Toney versus Vasily Giro. A big fight for him. And McCallum is going to be the Hawk, Julian Jackson. Because Julian Jackson was getting him up out of there. And McCallum went in there and starched him in 2 rounds. Mm-hmm. The starcher got starched. Yep. The body snatcher. Toney versus Giro. Yeah, that's what I meant. The thing said, is that what you meant? That's what I wrote, wasn't it? Yeah. Now, a fight between reigning IBF cruiserweight champion Vasily Giro and former 2 division champion James Toney had been in the works for nearly 2 years. Now, Giro and Toney had a tentative agreement to face each other on September 8th, 2001. Now, Giro, despite being a former Olympic gold medalist, having beaten the co-featured Antonio Tarver in the semifinals in that Olympics, right? Antonio Tarver was on that card when he fought Toney. And in the midst of a 2-year reign as cruiserweight champion, had yet to headline a boxing card and was hoping a fight with Toney, once one of boxing's biggest stars, would give him the chance to do so. Now, he had, however, appeared in the first cruiserweight title fight to be broadcast on HBO when he won the title against Arthur Williams, but that wasn't the headliner. However, a deal did not get done, and Giro's next defense turned out to be against 34-year-old Jorge Castro, the IBF #1 ranked contender, and Giro's mandatory challenger. After he beat Castro, Giro hoped to either meet Roy Jones Jr., the then undisputed light heavyweight champion, or James Toney, who was in attendance for the Jerry Castro fight. I think he got in the ring after that too. Maybe he did. Yeah, that was a good one, wasn't it? Define on it. I seen that. You was the one who told me about that. I had never seen it before you told me about it, Define on it, but I've seen it a couple times now. Now, Toney would fight Jason Robertson in an IBF title eliminator fight, earning the victory by 7th round knockout, making him the #1 contender to Jerry's title, and officially setting in motion his first major title fight since his 1994 loss to Roy Jones Jr. Okay? And the Jerry Toney fight was originally set for November 2002, but a long and acrimonious split with his longtime manager, Eduardo Getstev, caused a 14-month layoff for Jerry, and the fight was pushed back to April 26, 2003. Yeah. Man, they wasn't nothing like that. Wow. When I say Eduardo Getstev, here it is. It's hard to spell it so bad. I'm looking right at it. Damn. Yeah. This was Jerry's manager that he had the dispute with, and that's how that held the fight up. Eduardo Getstev. I think that's right. Let's look at the fight. Toney versus Jerry, okay? Then we're going to look at McCallum versus Julian Jackson. Okay, then it's going to be time for some link time. This is not long at all. Now, in a hard-fought fight in which a combined 1,843 punches were thrown, Toney would earn a unanimous decision win with rather comfortable scores of 117, 109 twice, and 116, 110. I believe it was closer than that. Now, Jerry served as the aggressor and pressed the action most of the fight, throwing 1,032 punches, but only landing 24%, 243 of them. Toney landed and counterpunched effectively and landed over 100 more punches than Jerry, scoring 380 of his 811 thrown punches, right? For 380. I thought I didn't do that. Let's see what Toney's percent. Jerry was 24%. Toney's percentage was 46%. That ain't bad at all. There. When you get close around 50%. Okay. Yeah, so Toney landed 46% of his punches. Toney would score the fight's lone knockdown in the 12th and final round. Jerry and Toney exchanged punches back and forth for the entire duration of the round, with both fighters taking damage. Then, with 20 seconds remaining, Toney scored a 6-punch combination that sent Jerry down to the canvas. With only 5 seconds remaining, Jerry answered referee Steve Smoger's 10 count, and the fight continued, though the bell rang to end the fight, just as the fighters engaged again. Yeah, but those scores were wide, man. I mean, it wasn't that bad. Harold Letterman had it a draw, 113, 113. That was better than what those judges had it. Let's look at the body snatcher and Jackson, and then we're gonna get some late time. Yeah, Lou Duva. He had Lou Duva. Good trainer, Lou Duva. Excellent trainer. Sweet Pea, Holyfield, all of them had Lou Duva. He got a lot of those guys off of that 1984 Olympic team, Lou Duva did. He sure did. Who's McCallum fighting again? Julian Jackson, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah, there we go. And this fight was August 23rd, 1986. The Body Snatcher versus the Hawk. Okay, the Body Snatcher versus the Hawk. This is short. August 23rd, 1986. McCallum versus Jackson. The Body Snatcher versus the Hawk. There we go. Okay. Now, when Julian the Hawk Jackson challenged Mike the Body Snatcher McCallum in 1986 for the McCallum's WBA junior middleweight strap, it was more than just a matchup of unbeaten elite level prize fighters. It was a meeting between two decisive finishers with 50 knockouts between them out of a combined 55 fights. Okay? This meant there wasn't just pressure not to lose, but also to not be rendered helpless and humiliated in front of the sporting world and end up on the other man's highlight reel, which Jackson did, right? Yeah, they had 55 fights between them. 50 of them was knockouts. That's a 91% knockout ratio between them. So somebody was getting knocked out in this fight, okay? And that was especially the case for McCallum. While both men were accustomed to ending fights inside the distance, it was the Virgin Islands native Jackson who was considered the more explosive puncher. His concussive power clearly evident in his rise up the ranks. But despite accumulating a record of 29-0, Jackson had yet to face a truly significant test. In his first title shot, he was taking a significant step up in competition. Everyone knew McCallum was the most capable pugilist, one of the best in the game. Yeah, that was around the time where the Four Kings was taking that wide turn around McCallum, 86. All of them. All four of them. Okay? Hagler too. But Jackson showed he wasn't intimidated by the moment, as he immediately attacked at the opening bell, coming forward and throwing a hard right, foregoing any feeling out process. Immediately, the pace ratcheted up, with Jackson unleashing his two-fisted attack. McCallum was caught off guard, but he held his ground and landed some good counter shots. That is until Jackson landed a sharp left hook that wobbled the champion and forced him to retreat. Jackson immediately pressed, eager to follow up, but McCallum was able to tie his man up and prevent further damage before quickly regaining his senses and landing some shots in return to keep the challenger at bay. Jackson then wisely adjusted his game plan, using more lateral movement and a heavy dose of hard jabs to disrupt the challenger's offense. It was McCallum, there's Jackson. Oh, wow. What is going on here? There we go. Yeah, this is not too long. Now, the momentum continued to swing in favor of McCallum, his focus on defense being the main reason. Instead of trading leather, McCallum showed patience, letting the challenger throw so it could counter with precision and thus make the challenger miss and then make him pay. It was specifically the counters to the body that were most affected, as they took the win out of Jackson's sails and provided additional proof for McCallum's apt body snatcher nickname. At the end of round one, the raucous crowd at the Miami Beach Convention Center roared in approval. The torrid pace continued in the second round, with the fighters exchanging bombs at close quarters, and it was only a matter of time before a truly damaging shot landed. From one of them, only a matter of time. And that punch came courtesy of a McCallum left hook after a lead right, which caught Jackson on the chin and put him on one knee. Now, although the Hawk rose immediately, McCallum moved in with bad intention. Okay. The body snatcher moved in with bad intentions. Okay. Bad intent, very bad intentions. They knew somebody was going to sleep in this fight. This was not going the distance. 91% knockout ratio between them. 55 fights between them, 50 of them ended in knockout. So, after the body snatcher moved in with bad intentions, a left hook, right hand combination forced Jackson to the ropes, where McCallum unleashed a vicious assault. The body snatcher landed a series of damaging blows, including overhand rights, left hooks, and a number of well-timed and placed body shots. While Jackson tried to land one of his haymakers between McCallum's bursts, he wasn't successful, and the missed attempts only allowed more clean punches to get through from McCallum. With Jackson keeping his guard up in an effort to protect his head, the body snatcher wisely focused his efforts on the rib cage, on which he detonated a series of crushing hooks. Sensing the finish, McCallum continued his pursuit, battering Jackson around the ring. The final sequence came after the champion landed a left hook that wobbled the challenger and sent him stumbling to the ropes. McCallum then fired off a series of shots which knocked Jackson's head around on a swivel and forced the ref to rightfully intervene and wave off the contest. Jackson immediately raised his arms in protest, but it was the right move. It was only a matter. He wasn't going to get out of that second round. It was the right move. The beating was only going to get worse, and no one needed to see the challenger pummeled into total helplessness. Right. Yeah. Yeah. He wasn't going to turn that around. McCallum not only emphatically proved superiority over Jackson on that night, but the same can be said about their careers at large. Although Jackson would rebound well from this loss, beating Bayak and Cho for the WBA title that McCallum had vacated, and making 3 impressive defenses, he would lose the 2 biggest fights of his career, suffering stoppages on both occasions to Gerald McClellan. Yep. Meanwhile, McCallum went on to defend his 154-pound title 3 more times, including standout wins over Milton McCrory and Donald Curry. He would only suffer his first loss in his middleweight debut, losing in a WBA title bid to Wally veteran Sambu Kalambe, but he did avenge that. Following that defeat, he regrouped and beat Harold Graham for a middleweight belt and defended against solid opposition in Steve Collins, Michael Watson, and Kalambe in a rematch. McCallum would also claim light heavyweight title and give the great James Toney all he could handle over the course of their trilogy before all was said and done. Yeah, we just talked about that. And to finish it off, it's a travesty that McCallum is such a criminally underrated fighter. But despite being blatantly blocked, ducked by many of his era's best, including the 4 Kings, he still took on all comers and beat some elite talents in his remarkable career. And near the top of his long list of impressive showings is his stoppage of Julian Jackson, when he vanquished a foe regarded as one of the hardest punchers of all time. Yeah, somebody was definitely going to sleep in that one. It just happened to be Julian. Yeah, but that was a good fight too. For as long as it lasted. It only lasted 2 rounds, but 2-round fights can be good. That was a pretty good one there. But yeah, the body snatcher. And if he had Jackson on the ropes, Jackson gonna put both hands up and cover his head. He left his body wide open to the body snatcher. Right? Man, he should have tried to keep one down or something. Yep. He left those ribs and everything exposed to the man they call the body snatcher. That was crazy. But he was hurt, so when you're hurt, he wasn't thinking clearly. That was after the body snatcher had put him down on one knee, remember? Yeah. But a great fight. Yeah. I got the whole week mapped out, too. I'll tell y'all in a minute. What we got for this week? We got tomorrow we're gonna talk about Homicide Hank and his run through 3 weight classes. Okay, all about Homicide Hank, his toughest fights. Wednesday we're gonna do some fantasy matchups. Remember we used to do that on Mondays. It's gonna be a series of fantasy matchups. Thursday we're gonna do our countries against Italy, and Friday we're gonna look at 8 boxers from the 80s. Marlon Starling, I like that show where we did the profile of all those different fighters. We're going to take a look at Marlon Starling, Bobby Chacon, Iran Barkley, Danny Little Red Lopez, Meldrick Taylor, Jose Luis Ramirez, Terry Norris, Ray Mancini, Milton McCory, and Donnie Lalonde. We're going to we're going to look at all of those fighters Friday. Okay? Yep. We're going to get all of them into. Just like 10, 15-minute little talks on each of them. Remember how we did last time? Yeah. So that's going to be Friday. But tomorrow is Homicide Hank. And it's only 2 boxers that's ever held 3 titles at the same time. Homicide Hank and Wolf. Only 2 that ever held 2 titles simultaneously. Yep. Homicide Hank and Ann Wolf. And Wolf did it. Yep. She sure did. 3 different weight classes simultaneously. Homicide Hank, man, it was only 8 then, and he had 126 and 147. He was fighting at 147 in the 130s, right? I mean, yeah, as long as you don't go over 147, he won the title, so yeah. He had to get back down to 126. But he did it. Yeah. And he almost had 4, remember? Middleweight, they called it a draw. It was a robbery. He really won that. He almost had 4 weight classes in a time when it was only 8. This man was almost champion in half of them. One person. Wow. They was like, wow, let me let somebody else win something. Yeah. It's crazy, ain't it? Okay, let's take a closer look at the big fight, lights out here. We're gonna take a closer look at Silly J Road, okay? He was one of Light South's biggest wins when he got that IBF title up off. Well, let's take a look at Vasily J Road. Vasily J Road. Anybody know how to spell Vasily? Yeah. Him and Lomachenko spelled it differently. Lomachenko is V-S-I-Y, Vasily I think he got 2 S's in his. I was looking at it yesterday. But I can't remember. Come on, man. There it is. Yeah. Vasily got 2. Jiro got 2 S's. When Lomachenko got 1. Vassiliy. And Lomachenko don't have that other I in there neither. He got Ly. Same name, but they spell it different. That's common. We're going to take a look at Vasily now. I'm going to move that close. Yeah. Yeah, how great was Vasily Jirov? Glad y'all asked. Let's talk about it. How great was Vasily Jirov? How great was he? There he is. Here's Vasily. Okay. Oh, there we go. He wouldn't move. If ever a fighter was best remembered, fairly or unfairly, for a losing fight, it's former IBF cruiserweight king Vasily Jirov. Jirov's epic 2003 war with James Toney is the stuff of legend. Oh yeah, I made a mistake earlier too. When Toney won Fighter of the Year '91, I said Jirov. I met Michael Nunn. It was when he won the IBF title off of Michael Nunn. That was at was it 154 or 160? Jirov was at cruiserweight in 2003. He won Fighter of the Year for both of those years, but '91 was Nunn and 2003 was Jirov. Okay, yeah, but yeah, he was remembered. Jirov is remembered for that 2003 war with James Toney. Jirov's epic 2003 war with James Toney is the stuff of legend. The action, the punch stats, the ferocity, each proving mesmerizing. But Jirov lost, and he lost his defining fight. The all-action southpaw from Kazakhstan was a whole lot more than the warrior who dropped the close, not officially, but it should have been closer than what they had on the cards. Decision to Toney. Yeah, those cards were ridiculous. A fine amateur who won Olympic gold at light heavyweight in 1996. Jirov turned pro in January of 1997, and he proved to be a real crowd pleaser, fighting on some big fight cards. Now, Jirov won the IBF cruiserweight belt in June of 1999 when he stopped Arthur Williams in the 7th round. 5 successful defensives followed, with Jirov catching plenty of attention due to his ability to sling so much leather in each round in all of his fights. He threw like over 1,000 punches against Toney, right? I mean, he only landed at 24%, but he threw a lot. Jirov beating the likes of Julian Letterlau and the unimaginably tough and durable Jorge Castro. Just as his star was beginning to really rise, Jirov was matched with former middleweight and super middleweight champion James Toney. Jirov and his team felt Toney's scalp would look good on his resume, which was now standing at 31 wins and no losses. Jirov was as convinced as he was determined to knock out or stop Toney. Instead, we witnessed a 12-round classic with both men fighting a great fight. Up there with Evander Holyfield, the white Muhammad Qawi, and the greatest world cruiserweight title fight ever. Yeah, that one, Qawi and Muhammad was the best cruiserweight fight ever, but Jirov Toney is right up there with it. Yes, it is. Jirov soon made the move up to heavyweight, where he fought big names, Joe Messi and Michael Moorer. And he beat both fights. I mean, he lost both. Lost to Messi on points, and he got stopped by Moorer. Yet, the former cruiserweight champ is to this day convinced he was robbed of the decision win in the Messi fight. Jirov carried on for a while, going 5 wins, no losses, 1 draw after the Moorer loss. That was the only stoppage defeat of his career against Moorer, too. The only time he was ever stopped. Yep. And he finished his career. He hung up the gloves in 2009, right? With 38 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, 32 knockouts. Lost to James Toney, Messi, which he felt he got robbed against Messi, and his only stoppage was Michael Moorer. And the draw was against another former cruiserweight champion, Orlin Norris, Terry Norris' brother, right? So how great was Jirov? Was he actually great at all? Certainly, Jiro made his mark on the sport. He was always exciting to watch. He always fought his heart out, and he won gold at both amateur and pro level. But it's that Tony fight every fight fan out there instantly thinks of when you hear Jiro's name. I know I do. As soon as I hear Vasily Jiro, first thing I think about is that James Toney fight. That's not fair to Jiro, but he had a great career. But I still look at his career as a whole too. But some people don't. Like, I don't know. Can a fighter who lost his defining fight be considered great? Of course. Of course they can. Right? Yeah. What's up, Define Arnie?
How you doing, Cass?
Define Arnie. Can a fighter that lost their defining fight be considered great?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah, of course they can.
I mean, we've seen several examples. I mean, Triple G comes to mind. I don't think he lost, actually, but, whatever.
Yeah.
It's what's on the record, right? Yeah, Vasily Jirov's another great example.
But he had a great career.
I mean, Meldrick Taylor comes to mind.
Yeah, Meldrick Taylor too. Yeah.
Hector Camacho comes to mind as well.
That's true. A bunch of them.
And Wilfredo Gomez comes to mind. I mean, all the way up to Joe Frazier, right?
And Ken Norton, he lost 2 out of 3 to Ali.
Absolutely,
You
exactly.
Ken Norton, the first thing you think of is those 3 Ali fights, Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
still a great fighter. Jiro was in the Hall of Fame, isn't he? Is he in the Hall of Fame? I'm not sure.
Damn, good question, actually. Give me a second. Vasily Jirov. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Good question. Let's see. Boxer, sometimes known. Okay. Amateur career. Professional. Cruiserweight. Okay. What you just said something about it being the best cruiserweight or like heavyweight fight ever, but the Tony Jiro fight ain't too far off. Which fight was that?
Evander Holyfield and Dwight Muhammad Quallen.
Oh yeah, the first one. Oh my God, what a fight that was.
The cruiserweight, because they fought at light heavyweight too. Remember? But the one at cruiserweight was the good one, and Tony and Jiro was right there with it. I think,
no doubt about it.
2 judges had that 117 and 110. Unbelievable. That fight wasn't that wide, man. That was crazy.
Another example of unfair, cards.
Yeah.
I don't.
You got for HBO. Harold Letterman had it a draw, 113.
Oh, I remember Harold Letterman, man. How could I forget him? But no, I don't see here anywhere. I'm gonna look at it more.
Okay.
I'm gonna look in several spots. I'll address this in my live. But good. I don't see it so far, but I'm only seeing Wikipedia because it's just now. I haven't really looked into it. So.
Okay. Well, how's that show been going? I've been missing you the last few days.
I did Saturday. I did UFC. I even did
called UFC.
Even bare knuckle. I called some of bare knuckle too.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
All 3 of them at the same time. I was like, man, I'm all over the place here.
You called the Parker fight too, didn't you? Yeah. Okay. Oh, you got the link right? Okay, good.
Yeah, it's just that you put and it says .com as in Nancy and instead of com as in Mary.
But how did you get up? You were still able to...
I erased the N and put the M.
Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
what do you think of that one? What do you think of Parker versus Fabio?
Man, it was I thought Parker was going to beat him, but man, Woodley, what round did he stop it in? I actually didn't see it. I was reading about it. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, it was round 11.
11, okay, damn.
I had it real close. I was scoring it too. I was like, 4-4.
Somebody else was telling me it was close.
Because there were some rounds where there were not much of anything going on. So I guess you can call that a swing round, And
that's true. Who did they say who they had ahead? You know how they do sometimes, they'll tell you who was winning when they, stop it.
If they did, I missed it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I can find out though, they usually had the cards in there when you look it up. But wow. Wardley called out Usyk too. You think Usyk
It's the right thing to do, you know. I mean, if
supposed to?
it's,
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it's. Let's be honest here. He really poses no threat to Usyk, in my opinion.
Not at all. I don't think he does either.
But with that being said,
But you're supposed to call him out, like you said.
right? But if he doesn't get Usyk, let's say that he doesn't get Usyk, right? He should get at least Caballel or maybe Moses, man.
And you know what they find on him? I don't think he posed no threat to Caballel either, to tell you the truth.
Nah, me neither. I think you're right.
I want to see Caballel and Usyk.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the one that I think can give Usyk most trouble.
That's what I said. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because of the body work more than anything, you know.
Yeah.
I
agree with that.
He may take that movement away from Usyk, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a big maybe too, because I still have Usyk winning. Don't get me wrong, you know.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it would be a very good fight. That one would be. Him and Usyk.
For sure. And then actually there's a couple of options in my view. I just think Fabio deserves at least Caballel, but if that doesn't happen, I mean, let's see.
What about the young guy? What's the guy name that everybody talking about? Itama, yeah.
Yeah, Moses Itama. I wouldn't mind that one, but something tells me that they're gonna give him something. Because I don't know why they have Moses, to be honest with you, so high in the rankings. They have a number one already.
He only got 12 fights?
No, but not only that. I mean, your best win is a over the hill Dillian White, man. You know.
Yeah, I don't think he should be that high yet. They do that now a lot, though. They you know, just because by your name, follow the money. They trying to build him and make him into this big time money fighter or something. I guess I don't know what they doing, man. It's crazy.
I just think it's gotta Kung Kao. Just put the link on your browser. Just erase the N.
I'm gonna do it again.
Okay.
In 1 minute. Yeah.
It says .con, not .com. So just erase the N and put an M, and that's it. That's how I got in Kung.
Yeah. Yeah, Usyk. I mean, what was we talking about? I can't remember all this stuff.
Oh, Fabio Wardley and Moses Itama.
Right.
You know, the possible options and everything.
Yeah, I missed the fight Saturday though.
I mean, it was. I would say this. It was a pretty good fight. Both fighters had their moments. Wardley especially had a very good moment in round 2. I remember. But for the most part, I mean, you can watch it. It wasn't Canelo's call bad, you know. But I mean, yeah, you can watch it. I'm not gonna lie. You can watch it. Yeah, you can watch it. Yeah. You're not gonna waste your time.
Yeah. I was picking Parker though. Wow.
Me too. I picked Parker for late stoppage. I had to eat a can of worms because the UFC didn't go my way either.
You didn't?
Not at all, bro. But my boys were hammering me over at the Discord, man. I knew it, but you know, you win some, you lose some.
That's right. That's right. Win some, you lose one.
Because I put myself out there, bro. I give you a prediction. I give you later. I don't necessarily give you a round. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But I will at least tell you if I think it's an early or late stoppage or decision or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But the real question, to be honest with you, Cass, I think the real question is, what do we do with Parker now, right?
Yeah, I know.
That's the actual. Yeah. Actually, let me paste the. You want me to paste the?
You got to go back to the drawing board.
Okay,
there's a good link right there now.
Hello, fellas.
Hey, what's up? How do you pronounce your name?
How are you?
If I'm saying it.
It's Kun.
Say your name. Kun. Okay.
Kun.
Oh, just okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. I was just hearing what you guys were saying about.
I was using 2 syllables, just 1 syllable. Kun.
That's all right.
I got you.
Kun. Yeah.
So how are you today?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, I was just listening to what you were saying about, you know, the events unfolding at the weekend.
Yeah. Did you see what you think about the fight Saturday?
I mean, I think most people had it about like 4-3. It could have gone either way subjectively, whichever way you look at it. And some people had maybe Parker up by 1, possibly 2, depending on like how you score it. I think the consensus was that Parker was ahead slightly, just edging it. Some people could campaign that it could have been a draw, but you know, either way. Some people say the stoppage was too early. I mean,
I heard that too. Yeah,
because there's the argument that Parker was taking shots on the gloves. Do you know what I mean? But he took some big boy shots as well. Do you know what I'm saying? So some people say it was a little bit early, but some people were saying he got rocked hard. So it's just
he got rocked by an uppercut. I remember that. He got caught by an uppercut right underneath his jab. That really discombobulated him. And the problem with that, the reason why I'm not putting so much on the referee for the stoppage is because all of those were unanswered shots. I think Parker threw maybe 1-2 shots, and Fabio was just wailing on him. And I mean, it's easy to say, you know, it's in Britain, Fabio is British, and start connecting these dots or what have you. But the reality of this, I mean, I guess some people are saying maybe you should have given him a standing 8 count. Okay.
I mean, I think a standing 8 count would have been fair. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think it was like a horrible stop.
Meldrick Taylor,
Chavez,
you know, Julian Cesar Chavez situation. It wasn't quite that bad, but yeah, I think a standing 8 count would have been fair if you know, if you continue to take that kind of punishment, then by all means wave it off. So yeah, I think you probably hit it on the head there, Irony, that yes, standing count would have been fair. Yeah. I don't know how that would have affected the cards at the end if it did go, you know, the distance. But yeah, that could have been another controversial ending as well, whichever way you look at it.
When he gets to the standing 8, even if you don't knock him down, that still count for 2 points.
Or I mean, like that's a round win for me. You know.
Right. Okay.
A knockdown or a stop or standing count is a round winner. Yeah.
So that would have definitely affected the margin, you know.
I don't think it was that bad of a stoppage, to be honest with you. He was getting his ass handed to him.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, the thing is, he didn't have to take that fight, right? So a lot of people are saying like Dubois pulled out of the Parker fight prior to the Usyk rematch, right?
Yeah, he did.
So, I mean, Parker, he could have taken an easy tune-up type of job and waited, you know, to get the rightful opportunity to fight for Undisputed. But, I mean, I reckon Parker should fight Dubois like an eliminator, you know, go, okay. Because obviously that fight should still happen.
Me too.
I like that because they're both think about it. I mean, they're both in the same stage. I mean, they're both coming off of losses.
Yep.
I mean, it's the right thing to do, in my opinion.
Like a rebound for.
I never thought about that, but
a rebound fight.
Yeah. Yep. That would be a good fight.
It does make sense. I'll give that to you for sure. I was thinking more on the lines of like a Makhmudov or maybe a Guido Vianello, just a bounce back fight. But hey, send in Dubois, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, look, Dubois wants it. Dubois obviously wants the challenges, and so does Parker. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
And if,
you gotta work your way
if
back.
Dubois pulls out again, you can say, well, like you didn't want it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
That put Parker in front of him.
That puts to end that conversation.
Yep, it sure does.
They have some unfinished business, that's for sure.
That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see.
So let me ask you this: who do you want to see Fabio with?
Well, I mean, he's obviously got this appointment now that he's entitled to fight Usyk. You know, look, I mean, I think Frank Warren's probably going to exploit that as much as he can. And it's to be the fourth Brit, right? The fourth guy from Britain.
Fourth.
Yeah, fourth Brit to
the fifth one.
Well, that was Usyk's first
heavyweight fight, but not a championship fight.
Yeah, I
So
see what you're
fourth-
saying.
Okay,
Champion,
fourth
yeah,
person,
fourth.
fourth
I got
Brit
you.
challenge
Right,
for the title. Do you know what I
I
mean?
got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that I don't know. I don't necessarily think so. I think he should have Caballero first, to be honest with you.
I'd like to see that.
Who's
Yeah.
that? Usyk?
No, Fabio.
I'd rather Caballero fight
Okay.
Usyk first. You know.
Okay, I like that too. I was thinking about Fabio versus Caballero, but if you want to do that,
Oh,
by all
okay.
means.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see Caballero get the opportunity before Wardley.
Yeah, me
But then-
too.
But
I
then
think he's
Usyk might be
yeah.
stripped because of the governing body, regulatory sort of like mandatory conditions that they impose upon him. So he might have to vacate that WBO, but he might, unless he wants to hold it all together, he's going to have to fight Fabio Wardley next, I think.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so too. Yeah, technically
Yeah.
speaking, Fabio is next. To be honest with you, bro, that like I was telling Cass earlier, you probably heard this. I think Caballero's the only one that can give Usyk real trouble.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Well, we know from previous fights, Usyk does not like the body.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? AJ
Mhm.
targeted
Fury
it to an
Fury
extent.
really exposed that one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was. I mean, I didn't like Dubois hitting him below the belt, and I think it was below the belt for sure, and it was a foul. Whether intentional or unintentional, that's another question. But yeah, he took a long time to recover from it, so they know there's a weakness to be exploited. But I think the mindset of Usyk is next level. He's
No doubt.
I think he's fighting for more than just championships. He's representing an idea, or an ideal.
Exactly, because I think Usyk is fighting for something else. Because to be honest with you, there's literally nothing left to be accomplished here.
Nothing. I would retire if I was him.
I thought he should have. To be honest, and Cass, you know this. I wanted him to retire after the first Fury fight, bro.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
It's been a minute now, so I don't know. If he wants to keep going, bro, then one of these young dudes are gonna get you, bro. The sport is gonna end up retiring him. I'm starting to realize
I
that
think
fact.
he just loved the sport like that, I guess. That could be it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so what do you think, Com, about what Cass was asking earlier about when a fighter loses a definitive fight, is he still a great fighter? We both say yes.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Okay.
I'd agree,
Yeah.
and I think even if you've lost the definitive fight and you performed, it's still an amazing performance. Like Muhammad Ali lost against Joe Frazier, right, in the first fight.
Yeah.
And I had that fight 9-6 in favor of Frazier, but it was still a great effort. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
And look at the circumstances
diminish it.
surrounding it and everything too.
Like if you get knocked out in the first round, then we can talk. But if you put up some, if you win some rounds and you make it doesn't necessarily have to be even like a split decision or something like that.
No.
Just with you having your very good moments, because that's the thing. Who are you fighting? You're fighting the best of the best.
Dillian White got smoked by Povetkin. He rematched him straight away. And
Yes.
got him back.
Yes, great example.
Depends what type of person you are. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
And at the end of the day, bro, somebody got to lose, bro. That's just the whole hard fact of boxing.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, look, I think you're a better fighter because after you've lost, it shows you what kind of character you are. Like they say that, it doesn't just build character; it reveals it, right?
Yes, I love that. I mean, even Fulton and Oshaki are going to fight. I think they're going to fight now on the Pitbull Roach undercard. But nevertheless, they were doing an interview last night, and Fulton said it. They were bringing up his loss and bad loss against Inoue, right? And he was like, "Listen, I came back stronger than ever." He went into detail, and I love it because, bro, look at Gary Antoine Russell too. He lost, now he's a champion.
And Oshaki ain't Inoue neither,
Right.
You know what I mean?
Look, if you got an undefeated, unblemished record, it's always going to be called into question, isn't it?
Right.
You know, you
Right.
can't win either way. If you're undefeated, you'll be
Right.
criticised.
Either way.
If you've been
No
beaten
win
before,
situation.
you'll be criticised.
Yeah.
You know?
No win. Okay, John, let me ask you this. I asked Arnie this. So, say Warren gets the Usyk fight, does he have a chance? Or
Well,
I
I
mean-
watched him against Justice Toney, right, when
Yeah.
he was getting his ass handed to him,
Mhm.
and you could just see he was waiting for that counter the whole time. And I said to my wife,
Yeah.
I said,
he was.
he's waiting for the counter the whole time. You could see
Mhm.
what was happening. Now, Justice Toney, he couldn't read that, right? Because obviously he's like there with him, but you can tell watching it as a spectator, right? You can tell
Yeah.
he's just waiting for that one right-hand counter.
Mhm.
Now, like Usyk, you got the southpaw dilemma. That he's got that's another problem that he has to solve. Obviously, the quality. Usyk is not gonna stand in front of him. He's gonna make all those angles happen. Do you know what
That's
I mean?
right.
And he's gonna throw the punches from everywhere. Or like what he does is he maybe even watches you for a couple of rounds, sees what you do, and then he's just clocked it, and then he can give you the impression that you think you're winning, and then he just comes for you.
Right.
You know.
I love what you just said. Let me just add a couple of things because I love everything you just said, Kwang. But I will also say that also in the case of Justice Hooney was becoming a little bit predictable
Yeah.
in his combination work. Usyk is not going to make that mistake.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know?
Nah.
And
Exactly.
Usyk is going to read that. Usyk, to your point, Justice Hooney couldn't read that because, he's still, a spring chicken, so to speak. He's one of the new kids on the block here and in the heavyweight division. Hooney.
Well, look at the second Dubois fight. I mean, it took him. He was able to, read the puzzle right in the first fight, got it done, got him out. The second fight, he got it done even quicker.
Yeah.
And in more emphatic fashion. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rout, in my opinion. But listen, whatever we feel like, if he deserves the fight, he should get the fight. That's just the right thing to do.
Totally. It's not necessarily the fight that I want to see, but
Mm-mm.
Me neither.
he's definitely deserving of it.
Me neither.
Yeah.
I don't think that too many people want to see that, but
But does he deserve it more than Caballel? I mean, let's look at this.
I
Caballel's
don't
coming
think
off.
so.
Caballel's coming off of Makhmudov and Zile Zank, right? And Frank Sanchez. I forgot about Frank Sanchez. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. And Wardley's coming off of Fraser Clark, Justice Hooney, and Parker. So they're both 3-0. Okay, so I mean, who do you think? I think Caballel's been a little more impressive in my opinion.
Yeah, I'd agree. But also, he hasn't got like the German boxing market, right? Since obviously the Klitschko's retired. That's why they're putting Fabio forward, because the British fans will pay for it, right?
Oh yeah.
I got friends in Germany, and it wasn't until recently that he even knew who Caballel was, and he's a UFC fan, and I'm like, you not heard of Caballel?
Man,
they don't. He ain't even like Germans, and plus he's Turkish, right? So he's Turkish German. So I don't think he's even like born in Germany. So like
right, I think he's from Iran or something,
guy,
but
man,
nevertheless, yeah.
That's the problem.
Do you think he's been under-promoted?
Well, he's one of Frank's guys, right?
I'm not sure. Is he?
He was.
What's
I know
that?
Frank was handling some of his fights. I don't think he's exclusive to Frank though.
Who we talking about? Caballel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Frank was promoted that Mark Muda fight, I think. Wasn't that Frank Warren? I think I saw him over there.
So you've got to think he's got more, like he's just thinking, well, look, Fury failed, Dubois failed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put another British guy in there that the public's going to back. Do you know what I mean? I don't think now, after AJ, Fury, and Dubois failed, I don't think the
Twice.
British public have
All
got
of them
many
twice,
high
too.
expectations of
You know that?
like British
All of them got
heavyweights right
rematches and failed twice.
now. Mm.
Guys,
You know?
here's the reality, guys. If Alexander Usyk doesn't exist, they'll be swapping the heavyweight title between the British. Let's be honest here.
That's true.
and I said that the other night is that the lack of like Olympic pedigree from the Americans, right? So imagine 1952, the first heavyweight Olympic gold medalist, I think, is Floyd Patterson.
Right.
You know, Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, then Joe Frazier,
George
Foreman,
Back to back to back
Leon
to back to
Spinks.
back to back.
The list goes on and on through that program, right? And then
Then all of a sudden it just
because you
stopped.
guys haven't got people doing that no more, the quality's declined.
Yeah.
You know?
It has, and that's sad,
Yeah.
you know, because
Not
they
like in the
dominated.
80s. Like in the
Yeah.
80s.
I would say after Tyson, it's never really. I mean, if you want to put Deontay in there, feel free, right? Because he's got over 40 KOs, not for nothing, you know. But it really comes down to, you know, there's a couple of American heavyweights. One of them doesn't want it bad enough, which his name is Garrett Anderson, and the other can't pass a drug test to save his life, and that's Terrell. You know what I'm talking about.
The other big baby.
So it's kind of a bad luck, but I just think they're doing something else. You know, I don't think they see the appeal in boxing as it was before. You know, for some reason.
Yeah. You said like UFC, right? Like most Americans or like, you know, people who are interested in a fight, right? They're not. That's what they're going for, MMA, right? Like most people are going for MMA these days.
Other sports,
the younger
like
fans.
basketball and you know, sports that are very, you know, the risk is nowhere near what it is here, you know.
I mean, look at NFL, right? You guys have got like a history of concussion there, and even we got it in rugby. You know, it's not.
I love rugby, bro. That's my favorite team sport, man. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I mean, but it's not the same thing, you know. It's okay. You get a hit here and there, especially in rugby where you don't wear no helmets or anything, right? But the idea is not that. The idea here is that the idea is to knock you out. You know, this is what this is all about. You know,
That's
like it's one thing to get an elbow here and there in basketball or in football or whatever the case may be, but in here, bro, like man, it's
you're trying to do
it. If you're like 6'7", why wouldn't you try basketball and see what happens?
Hurt business,
you know?
right? Hurt business, you know.
Yes, sir. But it'll be back, bro. I know. Everything has.
I mean, the last lineal heavyweight champion, if you think about it, is Holyfield from the States.
That's it.
And what was that? 1999?
Late 90s.
Yeah.
End of the 90s.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I mean, so if you exclude the title lists, right? So if you just do it from lineal, 1999, and then Lennox, and then if you subscribe to the theory of the two Vitalis holding it down, you know, them, you know, Ukraine. And then obviously a little bit with Fury, and then back to Ukraine. Yeah,
that's true.
And you got. I think about the defenses of like the lineal title. Do you know what I mean? Because you think how like who had the best defenses of the lineal? Obviously, we look at like Joe Louis or whatever. But I mean, in the 90s, like, you know, even Foreman avoided all the best fights. Do you know what I mean? When he got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. For sure.
And if you only count lineal challenges from Mike Tyson, from Michael Spinks onwards, what did he have? Like, was it Carl Williams, Frank Bruno, and then Buster Douglas? You know?
Yeah.
But then you think about Michael Spinks only took on what? Jerry Cooney after Larry Holmes the second time?
That was it.
You know?
Then when Tyson left, he retired after that, remember? After Mike Tyson. That was it. He got that big check. That's it.
And Riddick Bowe, you know, wasn't, you know, pretty much wasted his talent, to be honest. If you ask me,
you know, Eddie Futz had all the great fighters. Eddie Futz, he said Riddick Bowe was the best one he had.
I mean,
he didn't want it.
That's my thing. Like Riddick Bowe. It sounds weird, guys. Is it me or does it sound weird?
Let's see.
Can you hear? Can you hear me correctly?
Yeah. Sorry, I just heard you. My phone
Uh-oh.
distorted for a second.
Yeah, you clear.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
That's all right. Riddick
But
Bowe,
yeah,
no,
Eddie
okay.
Foot,
It's clear now.
to train him,
It's
man.
clear now. Yeah. He and he said he begged Eddie Fuss to train him in the first place. And then when Eddie saw how he was, Eddie left him. Eddie was like, "No, I'm not wasting my time on you, son."
And they had the guy Mackie Shilston, the guy who trained up Michael Spinks for the first time, right? The conditioner.
Oh yeah.
So he trained up Riddick Bowe for the first Holyfield fight.
Mm-hmm.
Then Riddick Bowe dropped him because he didn't want to do the work.
Right.
And then he rehired him for the third Holyfield fight, which he won.
Right.
You know what I mean? But he only put in little like bursts of effort.
Yeah.
He couldn't see it,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
I mean,
He was like
Michael,
a Buster Douglas type. You know,
Yeah,
he was like a Buster
Same
Douglas type.
Same
Yeah.
thing. Exact same thing. Mm-hmm.
I mean, like Michael Moorer, he thought he took a soft touch with George Foreman.
Yep.
You know, he had one defense of the lineal as well. You know,
That was it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people rate Moorer Holyfield too as one of the best heavyweight fights of the '90s. I mean, what do you guys think?
War Holyfield too.
Yeah,
90s, yeah, because it wasn't a whole lot, you know, to pick from. I mean, you had
Holyfield too. Isn't that the one? Oh, Holyfield too. Isn't that the one with the dude with the parachute up in the sky?
no, that's Riddick Bowe too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I thought Bo was gonna win that fight until that happened.
Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Holyfield Warrior 2 was a good one. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I like Ray Mercer, to be honest.
Merciless Ray.
Another gold medalist.
Yep,
you know?
another gold
Merciless
medalist.
Ray, baby. His
I forgot all
knockout.
about him.
His knockout of Tommy Morrison is one of the most brutal I've ever seen.
Oh yeah, that was brutal.
I mean, I really like his fight with Lennox Lewis, even though it's a close one. It's like,
Yes.
you know, you can watch that like 10 times and see it two different ways, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
the Holmes fight, he got schooled though, man. That was, no one expected that, you know?
Which
Larry
one?
Holmes, yeah, the Holmes fight. The
Oh,
Larry
yeah.
Holmes is my second all-time favorite heavyweight, bro. That's one of the Larry Holmes. When it comes down to it, might be the most underrated fighter in boxing history, in my opinion.
Well, he really arrived on the scene with the first Shavers fight
Yes.
before he beat Norton. Like that was like his like showcase.
Yeah, Shavers. Yeah,
He's one of the most skilled heavyweights of all time, if you really look at him.
I know. That jab, man.
He just didn't have that one-hitter quitter, you know?
No, he could box though.
Oh, man, he can whoop your ass 7 different ways. Trust me.
Yeah.
And early
He was very good. You know what? He was very good doing fighting in the corner. You remember he used to put like some leverage between him and the ropes and just jab you to death?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Didn't work against Tyson though. He was a bit rusty at that stage, you know?
True.
He had that. Holmes had that gas tank too.
Yeah.
I don't get mentioned enough about him, man. You know, he could do all that movement and stuff. He could be doing that. And it was 15 rounds back then. Remember?
Yeah. And you think about the defense of the lineal title, right? He defended it all the way to Spinks. Do you know what I mean? He had that.
He
for a
sure
long
did.
time.
Yep. He was 48-0. Remember?
Yep.
I mean, people say about the Witherspoon fight, right? That's quite a close, contested decision, you know?
Yeah. Witherspoon thought he won that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and they say about the first Spinks fight, right? Like some people say, yeah, Larry just lost the first fight, but he should have won the rematch. That's what a lot. I mean, people generally say, yeah, okay, he lost the first fight, but win the rematch.
Won the rematch.
Right?
I don't know. I thought I gave him both of them.
Okay.
Are you talking about the Witherspoon fight or the Ken Norton?
No. The Spinks 1 and 2 with Larry.
Okay.
So some people say he lost the first Spinks fight, but won the second one.
Okay, I'll take a look at those.
And you know how they say you got to beat the champion? People be like, "Well, no, that ain't." That was the thing back. That was the thing back then.
Yeah.
You had to take the champion's title. You wouldn't just get no split decisions.
I mean, you look at Norton Alley 3. I mean, it's like
I know. Yeah. Perfect example. Perfect example. That's a perfect example right there. Norton Ali 3.
Man, so do you guys have any takes on Joshua Buatsi versus Zach Parker coming up?
I don't know. People say Parker ducked.
Yeah, that's Saturday.
Benavidez, right?
Probably Friday.
He didn't want the top fight at the time. You know, like heavyweight. That's why he kind of like didn't want it. You know. And I like Buatsi.
No time for him to get a shot too, ain't it? Buatsi. How did Benavidez jump the line in front of him?
Yeah, but we're talking about like a few years ago, like when Buatsi got dropped by Matchroom because they were going to line him up and he didn't want it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean I like him. Great body.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Do you still want to see Joshua Buatsi versus Anthony Yarde?
Sorry?
Nah, not really.
Do you still want to see Joshua Buatsi versus Anthony Yarde?
That's a domestic, like British.
I think
British fight fans want, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know. It seems like it's one of those ones that kind of like it's overdue, but it seems like the excitement generated for that previously is kind of past. You know.
Yep, that's what it seemed like to me too. Yeah, it's kind of like past the sell by date. We're getting there, you know. Yeah. Like, you think they're ever gonna have Fury and Usyk over there?
Fury and AJ?
Sorry, hang on.
AJ. I meant AJ.
I think
that's a good question.
AJ said he wants to fight on an undercard, right? Like in his next fight. I think I don't know, man. It took too many sort of like rebuild fights, and I don't know.
I say do it straight up, man. I say enough of this. You win, I win. We've seen enough of those go down the drain. You know. So just do it straight up, man. In my opinion, if you're gonna do it straight up. You're gonna sell out Wembley in like 15 minutes, bro. Trust me.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I would have looked forward to see the Dillian White fight between him and AJ because that was quite competitive. Because you know Dillian White beat AJ as an amateur, but now we know Dillian White's kind of washed, man. And so it's no point.
They're gonna be just like Kell Brook and Amir Khan fight like 50 years too late, you know.
Right, that's what I don't.
They finally had that fight. That was way too late, you know. But they had it, so they can say they had it. That was better than not having it at all. Looking back, wondering what if, you know. I think the same thing would have happened in prime. What do you think about that, Tom? Brook and Khan. I think Brook would have beat him in their primes too. Kell Brook and Amir Khan. What do you think you find on Brook and Kell Brook and Amir Khan?
To be honest with you, that would have been a hell of a fight, bro, in the primes. You know, to be honest with you, you could have gotten a trilogy out of those two.
I know.
At the right time.
That was money. That was
a
money rivalry there, man. They could have made all kinds of money.
I
don't know why they never made that in their primes, you know?
I mean, I just think their careers were took like separate turns because, I mean, Amir Khan fought Canelo, Kell Brook fights Triple G, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they both fight Bud Crawford. Kell Brook fights Sean Porter. Amir Khan fights Danny. You understand what I'm saying? Like they were like there, but their paths I don't think never really crossed. You know?
Yeah, it was weird how that worked out.
And part of it has to do, in my opinion, with Kell Brook for whatever reason deciding to move up to fight Triple G.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What weight did Amir fight Canelo at?
54, I think, maybe 60. I don't even know.
No, Brook went all the way to 60 for Triple G. That was too much.
Oh,
from 47, he
was never the same after that one.
Never. Was never the same. After that, yeah, that was a career-defining fight right there.
Man.
That's a perfect example of one of them career-defining fights. What time are you coming on tonight, Arnie? I'm trying to catch you tonight.
I don't know. I wish I can tell you like a specific time.
What's the subject? You got the subject figured out and stuff yet?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna talk about boxing comebacks.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. You mean retire and come back to the sport? Or like come
no,
back
no,
and
like
fight?
come back in a fight. Yeah.
Oh, in the fight. Okay, I got you. I got you. Doing a fight, like losing and come back and win.
Exactly.
Okay, I got you now. Yeah, that should be pretty good. Yeah. But you're definitely coming on tonight, though, right? I'm gonna definitely try to catch you tonight. Yeah.
Unless something comes up or something like that, I am coming.
Right.
If I don't come up, it's because something came up and I had to do
Yeah.
something, you know.
Yeah, that sounds like a good subject there. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Hopefully,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah. I'm gonna get ready to get out now.
All right, brother.
Look at
Always a
something to eat. I
pleasure.
appreciate you though. Always.
Yeah, me too. Appreciate you, brother. See you soon.
Yeah. Okay, Define Arnie. I'll be checking you out tonight on your show. Okay, that was Define Irony 1. Boxing Irony. Coming up tonight. 9-ish, 10-ish. Check him out. Good boxing podcast. UFC too. Current events in boxing. Some history, boxing history. Called Boxing Fights, UFC, wrestling, bare knuckles, all of it. But appreciate you, Boxing Arnie. Okay, tomorrow we're going to talk about Henry Armstrong. He's one of 2 fighters that held titles in 3 weight classes simultaneously. The other one is Ann Wolf. But we're going to talk about him. Henry almost had 4. He got robbed they called it at middleweight a draw, but he really won it. So he was almost champion in 4 weight classes at the same time when there was only 8. He was almost head. Like I said, they said, Henry, let somebody else win something. He was almost champion in 4 of them, 4 of the 8. That's going to be tomorrow. But right now, appreciate Boxy Arnie and Kong. I got to see it to pronounce it. Kong. Okay. But everybody have a great afternoon. Just Do Boxing is already in progress. I was just peeping at it while we was popping it up. So I'm going on over there and check him out. And join me tomorrow for Homicide Honey, one of 2 boxers to be champion in 3 weight classes simultaneously. What happened to the music? Am I still on? Let me get out of here because I don't know what's happening now. Okay, there we go. But y'all know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian, bringing you all of that boxing history. Appreciate y'all 1,000%. Everybody have a great afternoon. I'll let y'all tomorrow. Let's see. Damn, I'm still on? I thought I was off. Wow. Then I didn't say nothing bad. Yes, I was off. Okay, let's see. Come on, man. really can't get it to end. Okay, let's go to music. There we go. Okay, everybody have a great afternoon.